This is supposed to be the last true Geechee community in the state of Georgia. This community is it. We're fighting both fronts right now. We're trying to fight the tide, and we're trying to fight off people that want to come in and take over this community. So we have to protect the land. Without land, there's no culture, because we lived off the land. Land was part of us. So this community is a very important part of Sapelo, a very important part of Georgia history, but we got to fight to preserve that part of history. The oyster play a big part in how we protect this community from flooding. The shell restoration project hopefully securing our future. On a king tide or just a spring tide, it'll come up to this step here with no wind surge or anything. It'll come to that step. Over the last several years, the salt water kept coming in and it was killing everything. So now this land here is useless. The field is getting smaller because tide is coming in more and more. We lived this for many generations, so we witnessed the increase in the tide. We witnessed the loss of crops and property because of the sea level rise. I think we're about 2-3 feet above sea level, so we're more prone for the flooding of high tides. But it is slowly going into the community. I live here on Sapelo. I'm a native of Sapelo Island. I'm the 9th generation of now 14 generations of my family that live here. This is the last African American community on Sapelo. So people that still live in this community witnessed other communities being told and being forced to move. At one point, there were not many people fighting for the community. So it's a relief to me that more people are coming in and fighting.
You guys look like a really cool band when I'm following you around in this lake.
For karaoke tonight, you will prove you wrong.
I could not do this work by myself. Nick supported this project from the beginning.
I've come here for a decade now, and
we're trying to figure out how best we can restore oyster reefs and build living shorelines that can help keep the community intact. I learned immense amounts spending time with Maurice and his brother Stanley and other descendants, just because they have sustained themselves generationally from the land. It's not like a book knowledge like I have. It's a lived experience. The connections to the land, the water, the environment generally, I think is something that has passed on through generations.
So as you can tell, there's gonna be a lot of work. All these sugarcane fields, you gotta come in here and you gotta strip all this bark off these sugarcane. My mother initiated the crops that we plant now. Was her idea to preserve the culture of the community. This is St. Luke Baptist Church. I have a lot of memories because my family house is over there. That's where we grew up at. See, this water is flooding. It's under that guy's house over there. This used to be the bathroom for the church. It's flooded from the salt water coming in.
We know that since 1970, sea level rise has come up 9 to 11 inches. Moving forward, as we get into some of the work that we're doing, their knowledge about the tides and sea level rise and the reconfiguration of the shore is going to be essential. While that's happening at the same time, there is a lot of development. This place was remote and quiet and isolated for a very long time, and then it kind of caught on for various reasons, and now a lot of off-island wealthier folks are interested in having second homes and coming here to retire, and just because it's amazing and beautiful. Hard to blame anyone for wanting to be here, but it creates a lot of distress for descendants who have lived here for 9-10 generations, and so it's a real conflict.
Hey Nick, they want film. You got to get out of the picture.
All right.
No, I'm just joking.
Started the task.
You did? Well, we got tasked from 2 weeks ago. I got to figure out. This was my father's bar for many years. He just started it as a place for people to gather. He passed away 2 years ago. This is my grandfather knitting the homemade cast net. This is one of his original nets. He lived to be 99 years old. This is my mother, Maurice Bailey. People come in the bar and say, oh yeah, I remember her, I remember this, I remember that. And it keeps the history alive. So this bar is also about this, relating to Sapelo, who we are and what we're trying to do. Our culture stayed alive for a long time because of our isolation. So much of our history passed down because we were still living this culture for so long here on Sapelo.
The goal of the project is to build 1,000 linear feet of restored oyster reef across various segments depending on where we think they'll have the most critical value.
We always harvest oysters all around the community, but that is part of who we are, is oysters.
Historically, we have used seawalls, a concrete wall to protect a wharf or something. But in recent years, we've come to realize that things like oysters and salt marshes can actually reduce the storm surge when a hurricane comes in or protect against waves. And so instead of turning our barrier islands that have cultural importance and ecological importance into seawalls and hard barriers, we use the natural system to provide those same benefits to society.
So I guess we gotta figure our way through here.
Hey! Look at all the oysters on that thing.
Hey.
Got it. That's a spat stick, so that's what we use to see if the baby oysters are around. This is all barnacles, but these are oysters, and that's what we're interested in.
The pre-monitoring that we've been doing with spat sticks is about trying to figure out where the highest abundance of larvae or spat or baby oysters is. There it is. So we can figure out where we want to try to invest the resources and the shell and the energy. Yeah, I might not make it out, huh?
Uh-huh, unless you swim.
When we put this stick out 3 months ago, it was clean. There was nothing on it. If we see this happening, we know that the reef's gonna grow. The babies are attracted to oyster shell as a way of finding their home. And so the idea is to try to reconnect the marsh, reseed the marsh with oysters and see if we can't restore the reef. The advantage of the oyster reef is that it will grow on its own. So we're gonna have healthy oyster reef grow with sea level rise. So there's a lot of erosion along here, so putting oyster reefs along this side to kind of help with the erosion. Right now we're strategically looking at, okay, where can we get a supply of young oysters to grow and create a nice healthy reef? It's not gonna completely solve like some of the problems here, but having a healthy marsh and the oysters will lower the water levels enough to give us some time to think about other solutions.
Got my heart rate up, like I did something today.
Yeah, I think you deserve yourself a happy hour or something.
I worked with Nick for a long time. I trust him and the people that he brings on board with this project.
I feel honored and grateful to get to be here every time I get to come to interact with him, and I've just learned more than I could have imagined. And also I told his mother that I would do everything I could to help him, and so I just feel like that is a mandate that I'm bound to until he tells me to buzz off. Could happen at any time, but hopefully doesn't.
I'll be thinking about it sometimes. My mother wanted the indigo to be planted because it's part of our history here on Sapelo. They used to talk about the people with the blue hands that worked with the indigo dye that was enslaved on Sapelo. So that was part of keeping our history alive, is planting these crops.
It was maybe 3 harvests ago when there was a king tide, real bad one. It had been raining and we could just see salt water coming into this field. It was a real wake-up call.
You know, without Sapelo, we don't have those stories. We don't have those history. And so a generation after that happens, then nobody's gonna remember the African American part of this community. Nobody's gonna remember the stories because there's nothing here left to remember. You don't win all your battles. You lose most of your battles, but you keep fighting because you have the passion and the belief. And I was brought up of just doing your part. And I still do my part to the fullest. So hopefully we'll be able to continue to call this our home.